The Florida Keys, America's fourth favorite vacation destination, 75% water, stewards of the only living coral reef in North America. Spanning over 100 miles at the southernmost tip of Florida, Monroe County is home to just under 80,000 full-time residents. Whether they were born to a family of conchs, or saved to spend their retirement in paradise, or chose to build a life in what is at once a beautiful and difficult environment, these residents share a deep love for their home. But now, their home is being threatened, and not by Mother Nature, but by economic challenges that are becoming insurmountable. Citizens Property Insurance, Florida's insurer of last resort, has increased windstorm insurance rates for Monroe County residents to the highest in the state's coastal areas by far. In 2005, Monroe County residents paid nearly 3.5 times the windstorm premium that residents outside of South Florida paid. And as of March 1st, 2006, Monroe County rates became the highest in the state at $20.91 per $1,000 of coverage, over 8 times what residents of Duval County pay. On average, Keys property owners pay $610 per month just for windstorm insurance. That represents 17% of the median household income in Monroe County. For most Keys residents, this is just too much.
We're at a dilemma right now with the fire department where we're losing, in the last year, we've probably lost about 6 to 8 employees because of the cost of living, not only the housing, but the insurance rates have gone up. Right here in my hand, I just received this resignation letter today from one of my firefighters that have been in the Keys for 15 years. And because of the high rates of the insurance, he is having to leave the Keys and Key West and to relocate in the St. Augustine, Jacksonville area. I'm going to be retiring in the next 30 days, and with my wind insurance doubling, I'm going to stay here as long as I can, and I'd hate to leave Key West because I was born and raised here. I'm a 5th generation conch, and I would hate to have to leave Key West simply because of insurance.
I ultimately graduated from Key West High School in 1956. I'd just like to point out that I'm retired and getting Social Security. And my husband and I truly planned on our Social Security checks and our rentals from these so-called affordable apartments to keep us relatively comfortable in our wonderful old age in Key West. The 2005 bill is about 65% of my personal Social Security. If it goes up 30%, it will be roughly 82% of my Social Security. And guys, this is what I have to live on.
Wind insurance for my home is approximately $16,000. The deductible for the windstorm insurance is approximately $14,000. Well, that would mean that I would need damage of more than $30,000 in order for me to have my insurance have any effect or impact for me financially. Certainly to this point, ever since Citizens became the insurer for Monroe County, they have extorted money from us to pay other people's claims, because the claim ratio that we have per capita is so much lower than what it is in any other part of the state, yet we're paying as much as 5 or 4 times higher than anybody else and some other people in the state. That something dramatically has to happen.
Heather, I want to thank you for coming by and letting me express to you the seriousness of this wind insurance and the effect it's having on the Florida Keys churches and congregations. It's maybe something people haven't considered, but each one of my families is faced with wind insurance whether they own a home or they're renting. If they're renting, their landlords are going to have to up their rent just to pay the wind insurance. And those of my congregation who own homes are threatened to lose these homes because they're barely making their mortgage now. And to have this wind insurance to escalate, and I personally know what I'm talking about because I got my wind insurance bill. In the past 2 years, it's more than doubled, and I understand another increase is coming. The only way I've been able to pay it is to borrow money. But I can't do that forever. But it affects me as a pastor in another way. Churches do not have big bank accounts and wells where they just draw unlimited money. We live from one Sunday to the next. Most of my congregation live from one paycheck to the next. It is their discretionary funds that they have left over after they have paid all of their normal bills that they donate to the church. And they're going to have to pay the wind insurance not only for themselves, but for their local congregation so it can survive. This threatens us. We are not able to continue to pay it and keep our doors open. And many of our people are having to leave. Their homes are for sale. Their businesses are endangered. This is a crisis that could turn the Florida Keys into a ghost town. Something must be done immediately.
These are copies of my bills. My bill for the 2003-2004 hurricane season was a remarkable $842 very affordable dollars to me. It increased to $2,231 the following season, which was a 164% increase. The following year, it increased to $4,302, an additional 93% increase. And I have just received this year's bill. The increase went up to $6,089, which was an increase over the previous year of $1,787, which was only a 46% increase from last year. But when you calculate all of the years and you compare them to each other, going from my rate of $842 4 seasons ago, my bill now of $6,089 is a 623% increase. I'd also like to point out, and I have my appraisal paperwork. This is not a large house. It is 915 square feet. It sits on a lot that's 1,300 square feet. So I don't live in one of the mega mansions that people probably think I live in, that we all live in down here. I think that we are paying exorbitant rates that are totally unexplainable to each of us. And we're people who have never filed claims. We're being cheated.
Teachers who are currently living in Monroe County in homes that they can't afford, this increase in insurance is going to make their homes unaffordable, and they have told me personally that with these new rates they will be leaving Monroe County. We're one of the few counties in Florida that has a declining enrollment in our student population, and the windstorm insurance rate increases are only going to exacerbate that problem.
I think when you start, in our state statute it says that insurance rates can't be excessive and discriminatory, and I think when you know, this is an average size home, it's a 1,900 square foot home. When you receive a windstorm insurance bill for $9,000, I would call that excessive.
The latest increase in windstorm rates from citizens represented $34 million out of the pockets of Monroe County residents. Citizens is filing for another rate increase of as much as 37%, which will take another $79 million of disposable income out of this relatively small county.
In the last 2 weeks, we've lost 3 closings because people that found out what the windstorm insurance was going to be and they backed out of the deal. And one of the big impacts that I've seen is I've worked very hard in the past few years to try to help some people that are a part of our workforce, like a cosmetologist, a school teacher, to get into what's considered an affordable house. And the price is already very high for what most areas would consider affordable. And then you take insurance on top of that and taxes. And when the insurance keeps going up and up, they cannot afford to live here. And I feel almost guilty that I got them into this situation because I stretched to get them to help them get a mortgage, and now here they are with the insurance and taxes being as much as their mortgage payment. I'm hearing more and more of people saying, I'm going to pay my mortgage off so I don't have to have windstorm insurance. And if you have that option, that's fine. But we also have a ton of people who have mortgages who can't.
You know, the windstorm rates, when you take a look at this from the perspective of affordable housing, this is a tremendous disaster. What we've seen with this jump up in rates is people who have actually been approved for affordable housing units, the banks are coming back in. They have a commitment, but the bank is re-looking at it in consideration of the coming rates, and we're having people told that they no longer qualify for the housing. And if you're looking at a windstorm rate that's going to go from $150 to $300 a month, it makes all the difference in the world. This is not about rich people who can afford a few dollars more. This is about people that we desperately need to stay in this community, to work here, to live here, to raise their families here. They got one shot at this. They get a chance for a house. They've got the house. They've picked their colors, and boom. And in fact, even if their employer were to raise their wage by that amount, that kicks them out because they've surpassed the maximum limits of their income ability to qualify for the housing. Concerning affordable housing, I can't think of anything that could be more destructive than what is happening right now with windstorm in Monroe County.
We had a recent situation where there was a couple that was actually trading down to reduce some of their living expenses, and when they finally got their quote for the windstorm premium on their new home, it turned out that it was going to be over $10,000. And so they backed out of that purchase. It's really started to affect our refinance business as well, in that we've had several customers this year who were looking to extract equity out of their homes for various things, maybe add hurricane shutters to their home, make improvements to the roof. They were not able to proceed with that transaction because in doing the refinance, we were forced to relook at the insurance coverages that they had. The refinance would have cost the insurance premium to go up to way more than they could afford, and they just didn't think it was cost effective for them to go forward with it. I've been here in Key West for 13 years, and in that period of time, I've never filed a windstorm claim. Yet my mother, who lives in Miami, within the same period of time has filed 3 windstorm claims, and the difference in our insurance premiums is huge.
I've owned this house 2 years. It's a new house for me, and something I've been working up to as long as I've been here to buy this house. And my wind insurance was $4,600 in 2005. And it's $18,000 in 2006. Now, the justification I get for that is that I have a bigger mortgage, or that my house is worth more today than when I bought it. Yes, it is, because we added impact-resistant windows and rebuilt the whole house. It's an old house. At my husband and my age, when most people have long been retired, good luck if I need to sell it. As a realtor, I have to disclose to the buyer what my costs are. I have to tell them what my windstorm is. Now, the flood insurance is $1,150. I can't believe the federal government is that much more organized and efficient that they can keep it down. It is a sin and a shame that it's happened, but it's a bigger sin and a shame that the legislature and the governor and our representatives can sit up there and let this happen. We have a huge majority of our population is very poor. Passing it off, you can afford it. I mean, that is the most illiterate thinking that I have ever heard in my life. And I expect more of my legislature. So I think that you've gotten us good and mad. And frankly, we're not going to sit still for it. The wealthiest of my clients has said to me, I won't buy anything more from you, Arlene, because I don't have $18,000 or $20,000 that I want to spend on wind insurance. These people didn't get rich by being stupid.
To protect their homes and way of life, a group of Monroe County citizens formed a grassroots organization called FIRM, Fair Insurance Rates in Monroe.
Our original goal is just simply to ask for fairness, to bring Monroe County in line with the rest of the state of Florida. We are paying $21 to every $1,000 worth of coverage, to anywhere from $2.5 to $10. We feel that's extremely unfair, and we don't know why we're being discriminated against in that manner. The reason Cindy and I decided to start this grassroots organization, along with 32 other friends and neighbors who have been great supporters, was because we finally got angry enough, and we all got together and decided we needed to do something about it. As we all were recuperating from Wilma, none of us had received any checks from our insurance companies. We were all pretty distraught about it and decided this is unfair. And then we started receiving our windstorm premiums. Now, just to make things clear, Wilma was a flood event for us, but our windstorm went up astronomically.
Through public forums, letter writing campaigns, and outreach to local, state, and federal officials, FIRM is hoping to stop these excessive and unfairly discriminatory windstorm insurance rates. And people are starting to listen.
Our determination is that the rates in Monroe County are already actuarially sound before the increase that is currently being sought. In fact, the numbers that we have indicate that the rates that you were paying under 2005 rates are also already slightly above those necessary to meet the standard.